and the experience can be life-changing. With clinics up and down the Wasatch Front, including Murray, with no long waiting for an appointment. For more, visit summitslp.com. That's summitslp.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Let's go back over to Michelle Rowe.
Well, traffic northbound I-15 is still bogged down. This is at the point of the mountain, starting about 2100 north in Lehigh up to the point, breaking free once you get past that, all the way to downtown. Also looking at delays for drivers at Provo Canyon from Glen Park over to the SR92 cutoff to Sundance. Start your dream kitchen or bath today at Bedrock Quartz, where it's only 7 days from template to installation. Visit New Murray or Spanish Fork showrooms or bedrockquartz.com. bedrockquartz.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
Going to see lots of rain, and even rain mixed with snow throughout the day today, and then linger into the evening hours. May continue through 10 o'clock tonight. Anyway, just expect it may impact your afternoon drive as well. And we should finish it all up by tomorrow. We were shooting for a high of 40. We've been there. Right now it's 39 in Salt Lake City. From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, I'm Tim Hughes. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Now we're walking outside of that smoky room, at least what I envision as a smoky room with mob-like bribes being offered for U.S. Senate candidate out of Arizona, Kari Lake, to dip out of the race and put her campaign on pause. And she's caught this all on audio that's now been released. The Daily Mail put it on their website. That's where Dave and I heard it. It's 10 minutes long. And she's talking to the head of the GOP, the chair of the Republican Party in Arizona. And by now they're leaving that room, Dave. And it sounds like she's been chomping on potato chips the whole time, casually talking to this guy. And now she's about to get in her car and leave. And she just keeps saying, I'm not interested in your offer. This is insane.
You know what it is? The people don't get to choose their elected officials unless they're pre-approved by the swamp. And the swamp doesn't pre-approve of me.
You need a strong party to help.
I think you should go public with this and then say, hey,
no.
These people don't want to, they don't want,
and then I turn my key in my car and I just, I like my car.
Tell them I'm not flattered. I'm offended that they.
Don't tell anybody we had this conversation.
I'm offended that they don't care about our country more.
I actually wish you'd just give me a counter offer this big. Give me a counter.
I can't be bought.
Come on.
I can't.
She blew him a kiss.
Okay, bye-bye.
He makes it sound like if this gets out, his car's going to go boom.
Yeah, he literally says that. Turn my key in my car and boom.
Do you think this is how politics gets done? We just don't hear about it, this slimy stuff that's going on behind the scenes, Dave.
This is exactly what I fear is being done. I guess there's always a shred of hope that it was just in my brain, that it was in, some cleverly written Hollywood script. That, the person turns the key to the car and it explodes. Like that, sure, in Hollywood, that's fine. I always hoped that was just for fun. Now, I guess I'm not surprised, but it looks like that is the business.
Now, we just spoke a few minutes ago to KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas because of the legal intrigue. Like I said, I envisioned some smoky room in the 1950s, and now the FBI is swooping in, getting their hands on this audio recording because, according to Greg Skordas, this is a trail of illegal offers a mile wide, and and it could even lead to more. But there's also this political intrigue that I want to get into with KSL at Night host and the director of the Walker Institute of Politics at Weber State University, our friend Leah Murray. So, Leah, have you listened to the audio recording yet?
I totally listened to it, and I'm going to tell you what. I never thought I would be someone who would say that Kari Lake was, I'm on Team Kari Lake on this, right? Like I was
That's
very
how I felt, Leah.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, she
exactly.
for years has been nails on a chalkboard to me, just with her election denial claims, and then this gets released. Now, the chair of the GOP has stepped down, and he's like, "Well, I'm stepping down under threat that she's got even more audio recordings," and he says he doesn't know what's on those. So so come on, is this what you think could possibly be going on in politics behind the scenes to, pick and choose candidates or bribe candidates out of races?
No, well, all right, so let me be careful how I answer this. I don't know that I have ever heard of someone bribing someone out of a race, like the very clear, right, quid pro quo we heard in that audio, which was, give me a number. And God bless her, she kept saying, I'm not giving you a number. I'm offended, right? There's no amount of money that they could give me. This is not okay. But I do think the point of what's happening there happens a lot in politics. I don't think most political people are stupid enough to put it on a phone call, right? Usually you have these conversations, like you said, in a room, right? And there might be smoke-filled room, but you're having the conversations in a way in person that could never come back to get you. But I do think a lot of times you'll hear party, right, officials thinking about what is the best way forward. Does that make sense? The rumors after 2020 where perhaps Barack Obama asked Pete Buttigieg and Amy Klobuchar to step down so that Joe Biden had a clear path because they both stepped down like the same day, right? I mean, I think we always hear of this where you've got party elite trying to figure out what's the best game. Does that make sense? Like, who's the best candidate so we can win? So they're always kind of doing that maneuvering. But, man, I'm with you. It's a little gross when it comes with, like these threats. It feels like threats, like people back east and my car will blow up if I don't get you this fine.
Talks about the cartel. Discussions about the cartel. It's so weird.
But typically,
it is weird.
There's a name, and we soften up a lot of these roles. It's just a political strategist. We're just looking at the future and the best chance to win. What's best for the party? I mean, in all fairness, there are political strategists whose very job is to say, yes, you now, or you in 2 years, or you in 4 years, or you never. That happens all the time. Now, the bribing or the quid pro quo, that's where I think it really changes things. But I would imagine this kind of stuff goes on, as you were saying, Leah, all the time.
No, all the time, right? I mean, I think about the sports analogy, right? People who are sitting up at the top, like the coach, if you will, of the party, just has this sense of which player is the right player to have. Yeah. Right, and if we're going to win this election. And quite frankly, you hear in the conversation, she's saying it's not about DeSantis, but given what we just saw in New Hampshire, where independents did not vote for Donald Trump, right, the party elite's going to be looking at that and going, oh, my goodness, if we run Donald Trump again, we might not win in November. And our goal is to win. Does that make sense? Like the party wants to win.
So do you feel like when you listen to this that they want to get Carrie Lake out of the race because she's such a pro-Trumper and she's campaigned on his behalf? And so get her out of the way so we can silence her in her, all of her MAGA claims and get a fresh person in the race for that Arizona Senate seat.
Yeah, no, I totally think that's right. So I think the problem with Carrie Lake is she is, again, I'm a fan of her right now, right?
I agree.
I'm with her, right?
I agree.
Right,
she did the right thing. But she also knew she was recording it, Leah. So it's kind of an unfair advantage to Carrie Lake in that conversation.
Yeah, no, that's fair. But I think that Arizona is a purple state. So Republicans and the GOP chair of Arizona are on the line to try to hold it. Does that make sense? And not let more of the state become Democratic. It's like, right? And so I think what you see here is them saying, you don't help us. You know what I mean? Like, if you run and you're closely tied with Trump and all the independents in Arizona vote for whoever the Democrat puts up, we lose that seat. So I think they're very, just like Dave said, it's political strategy, right? So if we run someone this MAGA kind of tied in a purple state like Arizona, we lose, right? And so what they were trying to say is, could you pause? You know what I mean? Let's let Trump run his thing. He'll be at the top of that ticket, and we don't want a double loss in Arizona.
Leah Murray, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it with the Walker Institute of Politics.
In the 10 o'clock hour, Riverton Mayor Trent Staggs running for the U.S. Senate seat that will be vacated by Senator Mitt Romney when he leaves office. He's decided, of course, not to run again. But Carrie Lake came to town on behalf of Mayor Staggs.
Yeah, I want to get his impression of her, the individual, and really,
Oh, I just want to get his assessment of the tape. I'll be honest with you, Dave. I wonder if he's listened to it, and we'll ask him. We'll ask him that question, like, what is his assessment of this, and has anything like this ever happened to him, or does he know of other situations like this? We're live at the Geraldine E. King Women's Resource Center, where there are 250 women who stayed here last night to stay out of the cold. Straight ahead, we're going to ask them what their biggest needs are so our community can rally around these women who need our help.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Debbie and I were chuckling because we both seem to have problems right now in our garage.
It's
We're
so
having
weird.
like lights. It's just terrible lighting, not enough lighting, short-circuited lighting.
I have no lights on this morning in my garage when I went out there. I couldn't even flip one on. So this is where Master Electrical comes in. You give them a call. They come out to your house. They assess what you need, whether it's better lighting in your garage or better lighting in your living room. And they give you an upfront pricing bid, and that bid comes with their upfront pricing guarantee.
Yeah, and a lot of companies will give you a bid. It's an hourly bid. Hey, I think it'll take a couple of hours. This is what it costs. Well, when that job grows and it takes a little longer, then that invoice is not the same thing as the bid. That is not what Master Electrical is about. They want to make sure that the bid they give you is the bid you can count on.
So if you need new lights, if you need ceiling fans, hey, you know what? It's a good time to make sure your smoke detectors are working as well. But if you need those installed, generators, batteries, EV chargers, give Master Electrical a call, get them out to your house, and get that upfront pricing guarantee.
Yeah, they serve everyone from Logan to Santaquin. They do emergency services. All you have to do is give them a call at 801-543-2222. That's 801-543-2222.
Or you can always check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
Big plans for a healthier new year? Better get cracking. Oakdale Powerhouse Large Eggs have 6 grams of protein and are packed with essential vitamins and minerals. Whether you're trying to lose weight, work out, or just make healthier choices, protein helps you stay full longer and builds muscle. And with Oakdale eggs, no hormones or antibiotics are ever added. For nutritious recipes, visit Oakdale.com. Eggs are the natural, affordable way to make any meal healthier.
It's the dead of winter, and our friends at Advanced Window Products have a wonderful wintertime offer. This is Jeff Kaplan. If the cold is seeping into your house right now, Nate and Jake will give you $2,500 off on double-pane windows and the highest quality custom frames built right here in Utah. Any style, any color, and the $2,500 is atop their already low prices. See, they build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So there's no middleman markup. At Advanced Window Products, they offer 0% financing. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage in the dead of winter while the wind is whistling and give your home, your #1 asset, a fresh new look. Plus, you save money on heating and air conditioning, so much so the energy companies offer rebates. Buy local. Their factory's right here in Salt Lake City. Save an extra $2,500 off the best windows and frames in Utah. 801-850-9100. 801-850-9100. Or visit AdvancedWindowsUSA.com.
Join Mike Stevens of Capital Wealth Advisors for Retire Right Radio, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m. That's Retire Right Radio with Mike Stevens, Saturdays at 5 a.m. and 9 p.m.
If you can't hear well, you're hurting your relationships and your own health. In fact, research shows that good hearing stimulates your brain, which helps reduce memory loss. Research also indicates that people with hearing loss tend to withdraw socially, which affects the quality of one's life. If you think you're suffering from hearing loss, it's time you had a free hearing consultation at My Hearing Centers. To learn more, call My Hearing Centers at 801-438-7058. That's 801-438-7058.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Tim Hughes. First, the Senate will vote on the controversial DEI and bathroom bills today. Second, a worker is recovering in the hospital after being shocked while working in a Utah copper mine. And third, expect rain showers throughout the day and wet roads on the commute. It's wet out there right now. Temperatures actually warming up, 39 in Salt Lake City. Now back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and I, along with all of our colleagues at KSL News Radio, are so proud to be on the road today at the Geraldine E. King Women's Resource Center, just on the outskirts of downtown Salt Lake City. And when Dave and I showed up together, I drove us over here. We parked the car and we walked through. The first area we walked through here at the Resource Center was the cafeteria area, where a lot of women were gathered and eating, breakfast. And before we got to the cafeteria area, Dave, I wasn't sure. I wanted to kind of smack you on the arm a little bit and say, hey, look over there. Did you see the bins of dog food?
Oh, yeah.
And I think there was cat food there, too, for the furry friends. And as we walked through that cafeteria, I saw it looked like a little puppy dog in a stroller. And I'm sure one of the women there who was eating breakfast had her little puppy all bundled up in that stroller. And I just thought, well, what is it like for, women who are they don't have a place to sleep. They're experiencing homelessness. Maybe they have children. Maybe they have their furry friends with them. This is the place that they go overnight.
And in part, what I've learned about the Women's Resource Center is it's just a part of the solution. There are a lot of different resource centers that cater to different needs. Callie McCown joins us right now, works here at the Women's Resource Center, and maybe you can describe the role that this plays and who you serve.
Yeah, absolutely. So we serve adult single women, so not families that are experiencing homelessness. We typically have, during not the winter months, 200 beds. They're usually at capacity, and then during the winter months, 250. On Code Blue nights, it's a little bit more. And really, we're working with connecting them to whatever services they need. You're right, we're a low barrier shelter, and one of the new things with this shelter was allowing people to come in with companion animals, and not having restrictions on that. So we have a lot of cute puppies and cats. I think we have about 30 pets that are here right now, but we just have a lot of women that are here right now, and we're working to connect them to housing services, get them out of here as quickly as possible, and hopefully have their stay here be as short as possible.
Well, when we were walking up the stairs to our studio that we've set up here in another part of the building, we also walked by, it looked like mattresses on the ground. Does that mean you're over capacity and women are sleeping on the floor?
Yeah,
on mattresses, but on the floor.
So what we have up here is the 50 additional beds that we do for winter. When the facilities are normal capacity is 200, so during winter we increase to 50, but we don't have space in the dorms for that. The building wasn't designed for that additional load, and so we've cleared out our common area. This would typically be the TV room, and put the 50 beds upstairs.
What I didn't realize until I walked through here is that there were 250.
Yeah.
250 women who stayed here last night who are experiencing homelessness. And that just struck me in a way that I just became emotional, because it's not something that I would think would be happening in those large of numbers. And you're just one facility, and you're not the family shelter. So there's
right.
Other women with children staying at another shelter. What are some of, just briefly, if you can, touch on what are some of their stories? What has brought them here?
It varies. I mean, there's so many unique experiences that have led people here. Some of them it's systemic within their family. We have some that it's very new. Right now we're getting a lot of people that honestly, just because of like rent increases and pricing, and then maybe a medical event happens, they're now here. They weren't able to cover all of that, and they had to choose essentially to give up and no longer pay rent so that they could pay off their medical bills. Some of them are just here and in the meantime to save money and try to get back on their feet, but there's not enough affordable housing, so we are we're seeing more and more of that being a reason. There's, just need help with mental health. There's
Job loss. And you have a job center here to help them get back on their feet with the job, right?
We have DWS's here, Department of Workforce Services, and they have an employment specialist that works downstairs in our client services.
So when somebody is in need, can you walk us through a little bit what a day looks like if they come in here for the first day? What happens?
Yeah, absolutely. So they would meet with one of our diversion specialists. Our first goal would be, hey, is there a solution outside of shelter that we can utilize and get you to? And if that's
a family
not the
member,
case,
a friend, something like that.
Can we help mediate something? Is there a fee that we can help cover? Something like that. Explore those options. And then if that's not the case, okay, let's get you a bed here. We'll get them set up with, storage, show them the area. We have laundry services on site, showers. They get 3 meals a day, and set them up with mail and all that. And then our case managers will meet with them to create a case plan, a housing case plan, and see what are the current barriers. Do you have your vital documents? A lot of women that have been living on the street, or anyone that's experiencing homelessness, it's tough to...
They don't have their birth certificate with them, or even a driver license, or those types of documents. We're live with Callie McGowan. She's at the Geraldine E. King Women's Resource Center, where she works helping. Last night it was 250 women who are experiencing homelessness in the Salt Lake County area who stayed here last night. I do want to touch on this because we have a community of people who listen to KSL News Radio who want to help. So take the next 60 or 90 seconds or so and tell us what your biggest needs are here, Callie.
Absolutely. So in terms of donations and in-kind clothing, we always need socks. We always need underwear. We also have a few different programs, which I think Kim and our community engagement team will hit on later, about some more long-term volunteer opportunities. And then also just the support of, especially with the legislative session coming up and looking at the funding for affordable and deeply affordable housing and advocating for that, and more funds for case management services at the shelter. Right now our caseload is 1 case manager to 40 women. And as we've said, there's in-depth needs. So also just advocating for those changes and that funding. And then, for us, clothing, and really it's socks and underwear. We go through those.
Socks, women's underwear, women's clothing items. Can they be used clothing items?
They
or gently used?
Gently used,
okay.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you take those just in a drive up on the east side of the building over there?
Correct.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you joining us, Callie McGowan, with the Geraldine E. King Women's Resource Center. And as Dave and I walked through here this morning, first thing I spotted was, just a lot of women eating breakfast, and I was just overwhelmed by the numbers of women, and very kind. They were saying, hello, how are you doing today? Yeah. One woman commented that she liked my jacket, and I said back, I love your outfit. And we saw a little puppy dog and a stroller, and obviously the need for socks, underwear, gently used women's clothing is important here.
Yeah, and a lot of these resource centers are very specific to who they cater to, and this is single women, no families, no children. There are other resource centers that do offer those services as well, but this one does focus specifically on adult women's needs.
If you missed the big audio gee whiz moment at the top of the show, no worries. We're going to play more audio of that recorded conversation between U.S. Senate candidate Kari Lake and the chair of the Arizona Republican Party. It is juicy. It's got all of the fingerprints of a mob movie written all over it. That's straight ahead.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. A Utah County task force says more cities need to step up to help the unsheltered in that county. KSL News Radio's Peter Johnston has details.
The problem for Utah County's Winter Response Task Force is that homeless services aren't balanced between Provo and surrounding cities. It has led to complaints from Provo residents and business leaders who say they want to avoid tents in the streets. One proposal would grant homeless individuals a one-day bus pass to move to new facilities like microshelters. What leaders in Utah County say they don't want is an official homeless shelter.
If there's no winter response plan in place by August, the state has hinted a shelter could be coming to Utah County. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The economy is strong, but more Americans were filing for unemployment benefits last week thanks to layoffs in the media and tech sectors. Here's ABC's Sherry Preston.
eBay cutting 1,000 jobs. Google letting go hundreds who work in its voice assistance teams. TikTok, Amazon Prime Studios, Sports Illustrated, and the LA Times. Those are just a few of the companies who've announced January layoffs. All of those and more leading to 214,000 more people applying for jobless claims last week, 25,000 more than the previous week. Still, the unemployment rate has stayed below 4% for 23 straight months, the longest streak since the 1960s.
And your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day right now, 97 points. The NASDAQ is up 94. Our KSL weather, a rainy day, but things are going to dry out. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try soon. Harry's is available online and in-store at a retailer near you. Get a $13 trial set for just $3 at harrys.com/quality. That's harrys.com/quality. Or check us out at your local Costco for a price you can't find anywhere else. Just look for the Chrome Razor with 13 blade refills at your local Costco. You can't miss it. Exclusive to Costco members.
Jeff Kaplan here. Every once in a while, I do my show from home, and you probably wouldn't be able to tell. I'm on KSL and sending video to the internet all at the same time because I have Xfinity Wi-Fi. It's pretty amazing because at the same time, my wife's streaming a movie, grandkids come over, one's watching YouTube, two are playing Minecraft, and others watching a flick, all while Grandma says, "Shh, Papa's on the air." We run all these devices, and I do a show thanks to my reliable, fast connection. Xfinity Wi-Fi is a game changer. Get wall-to-wall Wi-Fi on the Xfinity 10G network for a reliable connection throughout your home. Now through March 21st, new customers can get started with 1.2 gigabit internet for $25 a month for 2 years with no annual contract and Wi-Fi equipment included when you add unlimited mobile. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular rates apply to Internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, a Pfizer vaccine.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Well, you're slowing down if you're headed northbound I-15 from SR 92 Temp Highway to the point of the mountain. We do have snowy conditions, not sticking to the roads, but it is reducing visibility. Once you break past that, you're looking at good speeds all the way to downtown. Fed Up Kitchen is Utah's premier healthy meal prep service. Save time, money, and get results with their delicious meals. Made fresh daily right now. Save 20% on your first order. Use promo code KSL at fedupkitchen.com. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, the rain and snow showers we're seeing right now will taper off later in the day. Utah's southern mountains, though, will pick up 6 to 12 inches of snow from this storm. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a warming trend, and our highs could reach 50 by the middle of next week. Right now, 39 degrees with rain and snow showers around. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, let's return to this conversation about this. I think it's a mob movie in the making. You got U.S. Senate candidate out of Arizona, Carrie Lake, in the conversation, likely secretly recording this conversation with the GOP chair of the Arizona Republican Party. And I hear like bribes being offered for Carrie Lake to get out of the Senate race, talks of a bomb going off in a car. There's talk of murder. I mean, this just has all the markings of a mob hit. And he is trying to just get her to put her campaign on pause.
Yeah, for a couple years. That's the promise. It's just put it on pause
for a couple
years.
Couple $1 million. I mean, the offer never really. We don't really ever hear the offer, right?
The one tangible offer I heard was when he said these folks from the East Coast are willing to make anything happen. So if you want to do the talking head thing, which is code for being on-air anchor
get her a job.
I'm going to get you a job anywhere you want, or at least, something really, really flashy. And that's where I think it really starts crossing the line, because obviously there's political strategists that do this all the time. Hey, don't run right now, run in 2 years. We think you're going to be better suited for this or that. That happens all the time. The buyout is what changes it.
I think they call that a bribe.
Definitely a bribe.
It makes it seem like it's a bribe. I mean, he talks about somebody back east. He talks about D.C. He talks about the cartels there in the valley. Like it's kind of like a watch your back moment. Asking her if there's a number she can name. So let's start at the very beginning of this audio recording that we've been listening to. It is 10 minutes long, but here's about a minute of it that I just couldn't turn away from.
So what's going on? I'm assuming this is our friend.
This is back east. There are very powerful people that want to keep you out.
I know they do.
But they're willing to put their money where their mouth is in a big way. So, this conversation never happened.
This is crazy, though. They should want me. I'm a great candidate. People love me. These people are corrupt.
Well, maybe you're right.
They are right. They are corrupt.
Maybe. This never happened. Don't go. Do me a favor, though. I'll get myself in trouble. If you say no, which is fine, it's your choice. Don't tell people.
They're gonna try to have me murdered.
I wouldn't doubt that either. Today's world, man. If that stuff that came out last week is right about the cartel stuff, they say the cartel's operating in 50 states right now.
You know what they say about the cartel being in our backyard.
It sounds so slimy, and he's saying, it's like
even the way he describes it.
Don't leave.
There's some very important people in the East Coast.
Mayor Trent Staggs of Riverton, running for U.S. Senate for the U.S. Senate seat that's going to be vacated here in a hot minute by Senator Mitt Romney. You had Carrie Lake come to Utah. She rallied on behalf of your candidacy. I'm assuming that you know her better than Dave or I. I've never personally met her. All I know of her is what I've seen from her over the years, campaigning on behalf of Donald Trump. What was your take on this? This sort of like this mob, kind of like hit movie in the making audio.
Yeah, it was really incredible, and I reached out to her, and my wife Alicia and I consider Carrie and her husband Jeff good friends. You're right. She came out here in September. We did an event, endorsed my candidacy. I've endorsed her. We've done other events over the last couple of months together, and so, you know, she is somebody who is just so genuine, incredibly articulate, a great spokesperson for this conservative cause. And, you know, my takeaway from this whole thing is that the establishment is most definitely scared. They want to be able to get people like this out of office, do not run, because they know that they cannot be bribed. I think she is of an integrity and character that is unassailable, and this demonstrates that. And that's what we need, I think, now more than ever in the U.S. Senate. And what I'm hearing as I'm going across the state, so many people are just fed up with politicians that get into office just to enrich themselves instead of working out for the people. These offices are called offices of public trust for a reason. And we need to be able to find those people of great character that will get in and actually represent the people.
Now, I want to be very clear. I mean, I've heard this kind of stuff in the rumor mill, right? But I've always thought, oh, that's just hyperbole or maybe over the top, because there's some real political strategy that goes on. It's like, hey, don't run right now. Run in 2 years. There's a better opportunity. The funding's going to be there for you. Like that. That's pretty common in politics, right?
Well, it can be. I think the context here and the 1 minute clip that you just played, though, demonstrate the fact that there's definitely a reason why they don't want her to run. And I think, look, in a world, and I just tweeted this out on X the other day, I said, in a world of Bob Menendez, be a Carrie Lake. You know, and what I mean by that is we have another senator here, Bob Menendez, who has been indicted and has received quite literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in bribes and gold bars at his place of residence to do the bidding of a foreign government. And so this is very problematic. I think that corruption can run extensively deep. You see it, and you hear about insider trading, people that sit on intelligence committees and others that use those committees or their offices to inure to their benefit through insider trading, through donations from lobbyists, through you name it. And that's what the public is tired of. They need people that will be able to stand up and represent them without any equivocation.
I just want to play another clip for you where he talks about putting her on a payroll. We're speaking, by the way, to a U.S. Senate candidate out of Utah, Trent Staggs, who's friends with Carrie Lake. She's in on this. She's in this conversation. We believe she's the one recording it. And also in the room is the Arizona Republican chair for the Republican Party, Jeff DeWitt, who has since resigned. But here's what else he said to her.
So what do they want? What do they want me to do?
You want me to stay out for 2 years. Why? I'll tell you what I can offer you. I said, you can do whatever you want. It's talking head, isn't it? So the ask of me was, it's kind of funny. So the ask I got today from back east was, is there any companies out there or something that could just put her on the payroll and to keep her out? And I said, well, what do you want to do? Like, whatever we need to do.
Mayor Staggs, he makes it sound like this is coming from within inside the Republican Party, and there's somebody back east puppeteering this whole thing. Do you think it's coming from inside the GOP?
Well, I think he just mentioned powerful interests, and there are. I mean, that is the problem with our system. That's why I've created a contract with Utah that you can see at my website, where I asked or call out and have pledged to ban the trading of individual stocks by members of Congress, ban lobbyist donations, ban members of Congress and high-ranking government officials from becoming lobbyists themselves or working for defense contractors or other governmental contractors for at least a 10-year period of time. There needs to be that kind of freeze. This is just.
So who's this coming from then? I mean, what is your thought on who this is coming from? If it's somebody, back east, is it a company? Is it a PAC? Is it what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that, yes, it is some type of PAC or some great, powerful interests that want to be able to control the outcome of the Senate. And
not have her
unfortunately,
run. And not have her run.
That's correct.
Is she going to stay in it?
100%. I mean, she is, again, somebody whose character I think is definitely beyond reproach. She's an incredibly hard worker. We probably communicate on a weekly basis, and she's done an amazing job, and I think she has a fantastic pathway to win this race in Arizona, and I'd be honored to work with her and many others like her in the U.S. Senate and finally get back to some sense of sanity in our country.
Trent Staggs, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, we appreciate it, Mayor. You can read a lot more about this at kslnewsradio.com. We're going to talk with Boyd as well about this very issue, get his intake and see what his inside sources are saying about it's just like unbelievable audio recording, 10 minutes long. I've just never heard anything like that. You said, well, we hear about things going like that in the back rooms through the rumor mill, but this is caught on tape. So more on this in our 11 o'clock hour. Straight ahead, there's a proposed law on Capitol Hill. It actually has me worried about our 5-year-olds. Why am I worried about our 5-year-olds? Well, because I'm a mom. And I had 3 5-year-olds at some point. I worry that this move that lawmakers are about to make, if they do move forward with it, would humiliate some of our 5-year-olds, and it would humiliate them in their own classrooms at school. So let's talk that one out with the sponsor of this legislation when he calls the show in 3 minutes.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
The Cougars tear into their first Big 12 conference games.
And Spencer finds him for the hammer.
Saturday at 11, it's BYU, Texas. BYU, Texas. Pre-game coverage, Saturday at 11 on Utah's legacy home for the Big 12 and the BYU Cougars. KSL News Radio.
It's the Boat Show and Water Sports Expo.
Time to buy the boat of your dreams.
February 1st through the 4th at Mountain America Expo.
Great fun and shopping for the whole family.
The boat show is here, better climb aboard.
Get your best deal and buy at the Boat Show.
Watch BMX pro riders jump and fly the ramps. Learn fly tying with fishing experts.
See hundreds of new surf boats, wake boats, ski boats, pontoons, fishing boats, cruisers, houseboats and shares, personal watercraft, marine accessories, trucks, and more.
Shop, compare, buy, and save on new boats and accessories.
Register to win a 5-day Alaskan fishing trip courtesy of RW Fishing.
ABC4 Utah and Utah's CW30 invites you to the most exciting boat buying event of the year, the Boat Show and Water Sports Expo, Thursday, February 1st through Sunday the 4th at Mountain America Expo in Sandy.
Buy tickets online and save $2 at utahboatshow.com.
The boat show is here, better climb aboard.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer-certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins, and few have met the rigorous certification by Kia, Dodge, Infiniti, Chrysler, Jeep, Nissan, Hyundai, and many others. But it's one more reason that Martins is your right choice. Check online at martinscollision.com. On State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
For the right repair and the right paint, the right choice is manufacturer-certified Martins Collision Repair. Hi, I'm Tiago Martins. Many shops have ASC and ICAR certified technicians, but few have certifications by General Motors, Nissan, Chrysler, Hyundai, Jeep, and many others, making Martins your right choice. Online at martinscollision.com, on State Street in Orem and in Salem, we work with all insurance companies.
The right repair, the right paint, the right choice. Martins Collision Repair.
As the new year begins, you and your credit card might be ready for a quiet break.
Experience the relief of a low rate with the Mountain America credit card. With a 3% cash bonus on balance transfers, it's more relaxing than ever. Open a Mountain America credit card today for your limited time bonus. Details at macu.com/transfer. Loans and approved credit. Membership required based on eligibility. Offer can change or be withdrawn at any time. Terms, conditions, and restrictions apply.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
See the high-flying dunks, show-stopping blocks, and crowd-silencing threes at Delta Center this season. With an action-packed schedule, it's easy to get to a Jazz game. Pick out an unmissable matchup, or just a tip-off time that works for you. It's time to put on your Jazz gear and head to the game. Come with a friend, a loved one, or as a group. See all available tickets and options at utahjazz.com or call or text 801-355-DUNK.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, pressure is growing for more cities in Utah County to provide shelters and services for the homeless. Second, police will have to get warrants in the future to use video from Ring doorbell cameras. And third, layoffs in the tech sector, part of the reason more Americans were filing unemployment claims last week. Right now, 39 degrees with some rain and snow showers in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Eye on the Hill 2024. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
With our eye on the hill, and there's legislation that's being proposed that it really worries me as a mom. It has to do with 5-year-olds, and it has to do with potty training 5-year-olds. And my understanding of it is, unless your child is potty trained, they can't go to kindergarten. I just worry that this legislation like this is kind of picking on kids that, maybe they have an accident at school, or they're not quite there yet, but they just need a little extra help. I just don't want our kids humiliated or kept out of school or away from learning as they learn to be potty trained. And I quite frankly, I need to find out how this is going to affect children who are disabled.
I would say it's far more embarrassing to be having consistent accidents at school. And having that training beforehand, before enrolling in school, I think would be absolutely crucial because, listen, my wife works with kindergartners every single day. Mm-hmm. That happens. This accidents will happen. Yeah. That's very natural. That is not what this is about. In my reading of the bill, it's not about humiliating somebody, but quite frankly, that there's a standard here. And they're not equipped. Schools are not equipped to deal with potty training at the kindergarten age.
Representative Douglas Welton live on the line with us. Thanks so much for calling in and walking us through what your plan is and the reasoning behind this legislation that you want to introduce, Representative. First of all, let me just ask you this, was there a series of accidents that were happening at schools or kids that are being enrolled in schools that just aren't potty trained?
Yeah, thank you for having me, first of all. This is an issue that came to me from a constituent that reached out at the beginning of the school year, and they had all of their kindergarten teachers were threatening to quit because they were so many kids that were not potty trained, and they were being told that they were expected to wipe their kids' bums, that their kids weren't potty trained, and they were concerned, like, we're not equipped to do this. This is not there's some liability issues for us and some safety issues for us, and they were just really concerned about it. And so I reached out to the State Board of Education, and they had a conversation with some superintendents, and the first feedback that I got is, well, this must just be your school in your area, and it's not a statewide issue. And I'm like, okay, that's fair enough. And in the particular school I'm talking about, it was a 4 to 5 time increase from what they normally see. Like, it was pretty substantial. And so a couple months go by, and then I get a call about the same time that KSL did a story that there was a problem of kids being potty trained at school. And they said, actually, we've had more conversations, and now that school's been in going longer, we've got more feedback. And this is pretty consistent across the state that we're seeing a 3 to 5 time increase in the amount of kids who are going into kindergarten that aren't potty trained.
Are these more boys than girls? Because my experience in raising kids and being around little kids for a long time is boys are a little slower at this than girls. Do you happen to know?
I don't know that data. I've experienced that with my own kids. Is that my boy was a little bit slower in the uptake, but I don't have the data on gender breakdown on that. That's a good question.
But on average, kids are typically potty trained by the age of 5. I mean, 5 would be a kind of late to the game as far as potty training, right?
Yeah, 5 is an outlier. I'd say, I don't know, but 5 is definitely an outlier.
I think research shows typically 3, kind of 4 at the high end. So when you're describing 5-year-olds, which is the average age of a kindergartner, that they're seeing this repetitively being a problem or a common problem, that I guess I'm a little surprised by that number.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, and on a side note, this bill is like accidents happen here and there, and so we're not saying that if you have an accident you can't go to school. And I agree to your position earlier on that that's probably more embarrassing than you got to take care of this as a parent before you come to school. But yeah, 5 is pretty old. My kids were all 3 to 4 when they were potty trained.
We're speaking live with Representative Douglas Welton. He's sponsoring legislation that would require children who are entering kindergarten to be potty trained. So, here's where my next question lies: is like, how do these kiddos prove they're potty trained to the school? How does that?
Well,
what's the plan there?
Just a presumption there. I don't know. In the rulemaking, so we passed the law, and then that gives the LEAs, the local education agencies, the ability to go in and then make rules, or the State Board of Education around that. And so they would address that. Whether that's a checkbox when you sign up for kindergarten, I'm not sure what that will look like. That will be moved to them to decide. There is, to the original point, there is a carve out for students with 504 IEPs.
What does that mean exactly? So for our listeners who don't understand what the individual education plan is, what is an IEP?
Yeah, IEP is individual education plan, like you just mentioned. These are where kids have special needs. They could be developmental needs. They could be ranges everything from health problems to learning delays, where we make accommodations for them legally under the law for good reasons, to help them out and be successful in their school experience. So if there's a legitimate mental, physical delay, health reason, then they can get an individualized education plan that would exempt them from this as part of their plan to be in school.
If this bill were to pass, when would it go into effect?
It would be in effect, I think it's July 1st, June 1st, so for the next school year.
Yeah, it would be in effect for so have you been able at all in your research, Representative, to get to the root of this issue, like why there is an uptick in kiddos that are entering kindergarten who aren't potty trained in Utah?
That's a good question. I think we definitely need more research on this discussion. I think it actually falls into a broader concern that we're seeing. We've got an increase in nonverbal students coming into school. We have an increase in severe behavior problems coming into school. I talked to one educator recently that said their kindergarten kid was up till 2 a.m. playing Call of Duty. I think those type of behaviors factor into that. We're seeing more
2
of that.
2 in the morning?
Yep,
2 in the morning playing Call of Duty. My goodness.
Right.
And these are the stories that you're hearing then from educators as you cobble together or investigate what's going on.
Correct. Yeah, and these are pretty consistent stories that we're hearing, and whether that's the stress of two parents working, single parents not being around,
Well, we also know there's
know.
a lot more families experiencing homelessness. In fact, we're at a homeless resource center this morning for women, broadcasting live, and I wonder, as families are pushed out of their rental properties, their leases, because they can't afford it, if maybe there's some extreme challenges on the parents in those situations. It sounds like
Sure. Yeah.
it sounds like there's still some more work. Would you say that's fair to say, to be done on exactly the root problem? We haven't exactly answered why it's happening, but you feel like requiring children to be potty trained is the solution that teachers need.
Yeah, I think that's an immediate fix that's fairly easy, that has historically been there. Not to say that there's not accidents and things like that happen at that young age, but
Sure.
just the level of increase. I think it's for the safety of the student, the safety of the teacher.
Well, we appreciate you joining us and walking through it. We'd love to hear from our lawmakers as the session rolls on.
Yep.
Keep us posted on how this one shakes out. Representative Douglas Welton live on the line with quite frankly a bit of an unusual piece of legislation. I think a lot of parents should be keeping their eyes on, but we're happy to keep our eyes on it for you and keep you updated. But I also like to take some phone calls on this, Dave.
Yeah, I think this is a fascinating conversation because, again, we do sometimes forget that kindergartners are little guys and gals. They're just little ones. And there are speech impediments and there's struggles with just early development. Is potty training, is that a standard? Is that a fair standard to ask? We want to take your phone calls, 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Potty training before you can enroll in school, is that the right move? Give us a call.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top local story this hour. A new bill that would lower Utah's income tax rate by 0.1 of a percentage point has just passed its first legislative hurdle. Senator Chris Wilson is the sponsor.
Lower rates increase incentives to work, save, invest, and spend money. If we want a strong economy, we do not want to tax productivity.
The bill cleared a Senate committee with a 7-1 vote. Only Minority Leader Luz Escamilla voted no. She voiced concern about what she described as a lack of funding for issues such as child care, housing, and homelessness. The bill still has to get a thumbs up from the full Senate. Box Elder County School District doing away with its Chinese immersion program. Students like Luke Anderson tell KSL-TV they want to see the program continue.
I'm disappointed. I think Chinese is going to do a lot for me in the future.
The district is dissolving the program because class size and enrollment just keeps getting smaller. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Amazon is changing the way police can obtain the video from Ring doorbell cameras. KSL News Radio's Michael Komet reports.
Initially, police were allowed to request and access the doorbell camera footage from Ring through their Neighbors app. Now, since then, privacy advocates have raised their concerns that doing so would lead residents to report incidents only they see as crime, and this would lead to local surveillance states.
Law enforcement now needs a search warrant to pull footage from the app. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up but just a little on the day. 12 points is all. The NASDAQ is up 36 points right now. And our KSL weather, that rain that we're seeing this morning is going to taper off. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:33.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
It's the dead of winter, and our friends at Advanced Window Products have a wonderful wintertime offer. This is Jeff Kaplan. If the cold is seeping into your house right now, Nate and Jake will give you $2,500 off on double-pane windows and the highest quality custom frames built right here in Utah. Any style, any color, and the $2,500 is atop their already low prices. See, they build the windows, they install the windows, and they guarantee them for life. So there's no middleman markup. At Advanced Window Products, they offer 0% financing. You can save now, pay later, so take advantage in the dead of winter while the wind is whistling and give your home, your number one asset, a fresh new look. Plus, you save money on heating and air conditioning, so much so the energy companies offer rebates. Buy local. Their factory's right here in Salt Lake City. Save an extra $2,500 off the best windows and frames in Utah. 801-850-9100. 801-850-9100. Or visit advancedwindowsusa.com.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy. It got so bad, I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't concentrate. I absolutely refused to let any of my friends come to our house for any reason. I would have been humiliated if anyone found out how much my dad drank and how loud my mom screamed at him. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful. The only thing that happened is my mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. Her relationship with my dad really changed. I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I wanted to see if I could have a better relationship with my dad. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Tim and Amanda.
Yes, KSL is a trusted institution. I mean, it's a 100-year-old institution, and I know that with that legacy comes a responsibility and a trust. But I want you to know, we have diverse voices at this radio station. Young people, we have people of all different ages, of all different cultural backgrounds, who put their 2 cents into what stories we cover from day to day. We also are young in terms of our employees.
Well, I've been kicking around the Salt Lake City market for 40 years. I felt like I needed a decade of radio under my belt before I even attempted to climb that mountain. So as important as KSL is to you, you need to know that it's an important institution for both of us and something that we take very seriously, in the responsibility of providing the right news and information for you and your families every day and carrying on the tradition of this great radio station.
Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Michelle Rowe.
Well, we have a couple of crashes. The first one is in Salt Lake. This is State Street at 4th South, blocking a right lane. The second is northbound I-15 at the collector ramp as you're heading up into the Midvale area. This is about just a little bit above 90th South, blocking the left lanes. With fresh snow comes fresh tracks at Murdoch Hyundai. Right now, receive 0% for 3 years on the Tucson or Santa Fe. I'm Michelle Rowe in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, rain and snow showers taper off later today. Utah's southern mountains stand to pick up 12 inches of snow out of this storm. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a warming trend, and highs could reach 50 by the middle of next week. Right now, we're at 39 degrees with a rain shower in downtown Salt Lake. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Look, I don't want teachers to have to run to the bathroom and wipe our little kids' bummies. I understand that would not be a joyful experience, having wiped lots of little kids' bummies as a mom of 3, and their cousins' bummies, and, anybody we were babysitting.
The glorious part of parenting.
I would get the call from the bathroom, Mommy, come wipe me. I understand, okay? But I am still concerned about our little 5-year-olds. In this legislation that we just talked to the representative about, that he is sponsoring, would require kids to be potty trained. And perhaps there would be a box that the parents would have to check on their kindergarten enrollment forms to, essentially pinky promise that their kids are potty trained before we send them off to kindergarten. But I just worry that this has humiliation written all over it for the 5-year-old who gets kept out of school. Want to be obvious to the little neighborhood kids that Johnny doesn't know how to use the bathroom. I just want to offer our kids as much help as possible. And we're going to take live phone calls in a minute at 801-575-TALK.
I was just looking at what is common, because I've been out of the potty training game for over a decade now. So I was trying to remember, okay, when does it start? So I looked up at the Mayo Clinic, and they said potty training can start between 18 and 24 months. So a year and a half to 2 years old when potty training can start. It says, well, or maybe 3 years old. We're talking about 5 years old in kindergarten. So if a child is not potty trained by the time they are 5, then they are really late adopters. And that's probably something we need to address.
We've got some female callers on the line right now. Let's get to those phone calls in just a moment. So Rose, Jill, and all the others, hold the line for us. Let's hear what Representative Douglas Welton told us was behind this legislation for him.
This is an issue that came to me from a constituent that reached out at the beginning of the school year, and they had all of their kindergarten teachers were threatening to quit because they were so many kids that were not potty trained, and they were being told that they were expected to wipe their kids' bums, that their kids weren't potty trained, and they were concerned, like, we're not equipped to do this. This is not, there's some liability. They were just really concerned about it.
That liability issue is something I really hadn't thought about. Let's go to the phones right now. Again, if you want to chime in on this conversation, 801-575-TALK. But Rose in Salt Lake City, what do you think, Rose?
Well, it's right. The teacher is not supposed to clean the butts or any kids. But also, in the other hand, I'm a mother and I'm a grandmother, and I'm being the daycare provider for 23 years. And I received kids with no potty trained. And what I found out is every single kid is different. I'm agree that if you are 5 years old and you don't go to the bathroom, it's a problem. I agree for that. But those are unit cases. It's not all the kids. And for me, hey, I'm 63 and I see everything since I'm born. And now with the kids, why they don't start to think in other options? Take the pool out with you. Kids, they stay at school in a short time. They don't stay for 8 hours. So it's something that they need to check that out. I understand the mothers are busy. They have to work. They have to feed their kids. Going to potty training is a consistency in the time. You eat half an hour, you go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Rose, thank you so much for your phone call and your insights, having provided childcare to so many kids. I'm sure you've seen a lot of this going on. Jill in Midway, hi.
Hi.
What do you think about this? Should kids have to be potty trained before they're allowed to enter kindergarten in Utah?
I just wanted to I went to half day, and I was given 2 bathroom breaks when I was a kindergartner. When my child started kindergarten, they did not offer any bathroom breaks. They just expected the children to go at recess or during playtime or raise their hand and ask to go to the bathroom, which I think cuts down a lot on kids wanting to go to the bathroom and could lead to more bathroom potty training problems for the school.
So you're saying more structured potty breaks for our kiddos in kindergarten are in order?
I think that seeing that change, and I did talk to his teacher about the situation and some other moms, and I think possibly some training or some changes in how they handle bathroom breaks or the bathroom breaks has changed.
Thanks, Jill. You're breaking up a little bit, but your point is well taken and curious.
Yeah.
You know, when you have structured potty breaks,
Absolutely.
like structured snack time, you know, everybody knows, hey, it's time to go. Hi, Mark. What do you think of about this legislation requiring kids to be potty trained before they enter kindergarten?
Oh, I think for liability for the state and for the teachers personally, I think it's absolute must. The liability for an accusation that could occur, the litigation,
I see what you're saying.
and the humiliation of all of that kind of stuff could become a severe problem for the school and school district. But one other thing I just wanted to add, there's one situation I'm aware of. I'm a grandfather, so I've got 14 grandkids. And one was going to go to a preschool, and that little person wasn't potty trained because he didn't want to. He was just kind of rebellious about it. But then when he realized, I can't go to preschool if I don't potty train, all of a sudden he became potty trained within just a few weeks.
The motivation was right.
Yeah, I think the motivational part is going to be a great assistance for parents who have children who are just not wanting to do it.
And
they can be stubborn.
We should do that with teeth brushing, too. We should do that with haircuts and teeth brushing, too. Give them a deadline, right? I've seen plenty of temper tantrums be thrown at the hair salon. Kids that don't want to get their hair cut. I've seen kids thrust themselves on the floor if the parents are brushing their teeth. And great conversation about, of all things, potty training and making sure kids are potty trained. It would be mandatory to be able to get into kindergarten in Utah.
I think it's important if you've got a 5-year-old, 5.5-year-old that is not potty trained, there may be an underlying issue that needs to be addressed. So this is a benchmark I don't have any problem with.
Next, we're live at the Women's Resource Center here on the outskirts of Salt Lake City, downtown Salt Lake City, just about 7th South. And we learned earlier today of just a dire need for women's clothing, women's underwear, just socks. They're in overflow mode right now. They can accommodate 200 women a night, and as Dave and I walked through the building to set up our live coverage here in the back of the building, we walked around the cafeteria where we saw dozens of women eating, and then one of the directors told us that there are 250 women here last night, and we're not even in code blue mode. And code blue is when temperatures drop to 15 degrees. And he says they go up by several more women who find shelter here. So straight ahead, we're going to get just an in-depth look at what our homeless situation looks like in Utah, and also talk about the lack of affordable housing and what we have to do to provide, more housing for women who are experiencing homelessness.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Hey, folks, my house was built in 1978. And apparently the electrician just forgot to show up for half the time because I am so lacking in lighting in my house. I have been constantly having to hire people to come in and put some additional lighting in.
If you're living in a house just like Dave's, make sure you give Master Electrical a call ASAP, because there's nothing like great lighting to light up your life, especially in that living room of yours, Dave. Master Electrical has upfront pricing, and what that means is when they come to your home to give you the bid, that is the bid that they're going to guarantee. That's their upfront pricing guarantee.
Yeah, and they've been serving for a long time people from Logan to Santaquin. They're open for emergency services, which in my experience is the only kind of service that I ever get is the emergency kind.
When you call Master Electrical, make sure you talk to them about that upfront pricing guarantee, and they're going to give that to you in writing so you know exactly what you're going to pay when the job is done. So the phone number you're going to call to get a hold of Master Electrical is 801-543-2222, 801-543-2222.
Or check them out online at masterelectrical.com.
Your favorite local credit union is now your concert BFF. Utah First Credit Union is turning up the volume on life at the newly renamed Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater, formerly USANA Amphitheater. Join us for a summer of music, memories, and community togetherness. Utah First, banking that rocks. And concerts aren't the only thing we're amping up. We're also introducing Utah First Personal Checking, your all-in-one boutique banking solution. Have you ever wished your favorite features came standard? Like guac on your burrito, expedited shipping, or in-flight Wi-Fi? Good news! At Utah First Credit Union, we've made all your favorite checking perks our standard, including the best dividends, debit card rewards, loan rebates, and of course, early access to concert tickets at the new Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater. That's personal checking, where every feature is standard. Does your bank rock like that? Learn more at utahfirst.com.
The Management Minute is a service of the MBA program in the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University. I'm Professor Scott Hammond. Imagine playing a game where the rules change every quarter or every halftime. In the back of one of the few remaining stores where you can buy technology is a pile of displays for past products. Most of the companies and products they're selling do not exist anymore. The rules of the game are always changing. What is popular and usable today is dated and gone tomorrow. Companies with teams that continuously adapt to the complexity of the world are the ones that survive. Adaptive teams listen and learn from each other so that when the market changes, they change too. Learn more about what the best teams do in an MBA from Utah State University. Go to utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. I'm Scott Hammond. Hope to see you in one of our classes.
Hi, this is Scott Trout of Cordell & Cordell. There are a lot of great dads out there. Sometimes those dads get divorced. For more than 30 years, we've represented men in divorce, confronting the pitfalls that could devastate your finances or harm your family relationships. While every situation is different, our goal is to get the best outcome for you and your kids. Visit CordellCordell.com to take the first step.
Offices in Midvale and Clearfield. 1412 South Legend Hills Drive, Suite 200, Clearfield, Utah, 84015. Online at CordellCordell.com.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZQuil.
ZQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZQuil nights. Explore our products at ZQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a bill to cut Utah's state income tax rate has begun moving through the legislature. Second, the Box Elder School District doing away with its Chinese immersion program. And third, Amazon will require police to get a warrant in the future before it will provide video from Ring doorbell cameras. Right now, 39 degrees with a rain shower in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and I are very honored to be here this morning at the Geraldine E. King Women's Resource Center on 7th South in Salt Lake City. And as we walked in this morning, we walked into like the pantry area, it looked like, and there were even bins for dog food and cat food. As we walked through the cafeteria where the women were eating, I noticed some puppies. And then we saw a woman earlier bring her dog into this area and say hi to us, and it was a husky. And these women who are staying here, and there were 250 women who stayed here overnight last night. They're experiencing homelessness. They bring their furry friends with them.
Yeah, and what I realized is there are so many different kinds of resource centers in the community that are tailored specifically to women. With women with kids, just teens. There's a lot of different resources. And this one, the Gerald E. King Women's Resource Center, focuses on adult single women. And we have Kathy Bray joining us right now from Volunteers of America. You're the president and the CEO there. Mm-hmm. And specifically, I think we want to talk about housing, affordable housing, deeply affordable housing, because we've heard these terms, but I'm not sure a lot of us understand exactly what that means or what the direction and goal is. We just say affordable housing, and I don't know. Can you walk us through that?
Yeah, I think that part of what we're trying to achieve as a community is to have rents at different levels that meet the needs of different people. And for many homeless individuals, they have fixed incomes that are about 30% of the area median income. So they're the poorest people, usually in our community. Not always. Some people come through, get the job, and off they go into their own apartment. But for many people, they have to rely on vouchers or some sort of housing subsidy, something to help them pay rent, because the prices are going way up, right?
Yeah.
And so they have to wait. A lot of times they live in shelter till they're waiting for another voucher or very low income housing unit to become available. So they live in the shelters until the next unit is ready.
Kathy, how do we as a community come together to make sure we can accommodate these women. And there's also there's a teen shelter, there's a family shelter, there's a men's shelter. How do we bring them out of this experience and get them into deeply affordable housing?
Yeah, I think right now we have such a great collaborative effort going on between the state and the county and the city, the philanthropic network of really generous people in our community, plus the providers. Best collaboration I've seen in my 30 plus years doing this work, where we're all on the same page, trying to help prevent people from falling into homelessness and then creating enough flow out of homelessness so people don't have to live in the shelters when they're ready for housing but are waiting for a unit. And so we're really working together. We are all supporting the governor's budget. I'm part of the Salt Lake Valley Coalition to End Homelessness. And we're trying to get additional funding for emergency shelter because across the state there's still not enough for the crisis that is currently going on. And then in terms of affordable housing, we had $55 million 2 years ago that was passed, $50 million last year, $30 million hopefully this year. $30 million is in the governor's budget for deeply affordable housing, and we're advocating for that to be passed.
What does the deeply affordable housing look like? Is it apartment living? Is it in the city? Where does that get built?
So it's a kind of a combination of things, and it might be a place like the Magnolia was a 65-unit apartment complex that opened. It was a low-income housing tax credit apartment with many sources to make sure, and then vouchers associated with those apartments. So people live in an apartment, and there's the subsidy is built into that, or you get a voucher and you can go find your own apartment anywhere in the community, and that voucher helps you pay. You pay 30% of your income toward the rent, and then the voucher pays the difference.
I once toured not too long ago an apartment complex downtown where there were all different income levels. So there might be somebody who has just come out of homelessness and experienced homelessness for years, and then they get into this apartment. They've got a job now. They're paying a very, very reduced rent. And you know all about this, Kathy, because you've been at this for so long.
Time.
But they might be living next to somebody who's making $250,000 a year and just living downtown, and it was just a very mixed income community. And these apartments are beautiful inside. So I would imagine somebody experiencing homelessness who has an opportunity to get into a place like that. They've got a job now, and they're moving on, and they're ecstatic to be in a place where they can mix with people who have a career trajectory.
Oh, for sure. And they're just reintegrating into the community. Just like any of us, they want to feel valued, and they want to participate, and they want to make friends, and they want to go to work and do the best that they can for themselves. And especially for homeless youth also, we see that integrating them into the community where they're kind of in a mixed use or mixed income apartment complex works well for them, because it's also helps helps provide a more normative environment.
And some of these homeless youth, and again, I've met several of them over the years through the Volunteers of America and the efforts that you have just been amazing at with our homeless youth here in the Valley. They don't have parents, or they have parents, and their parents they're no longer with their parents. They're on their own.
Yeah, we say that people become homeless as youth after some sort of family disruption, whatever that might be. It might be that a parent is deceased, incarcerated, has mental health issues, there's abuse or neglect going on. Maybe the youth ended up in foster care. We're working with the Department of Health and Human Services on those discharge plans. There's all sorts of situations that lead youth to end up coming to live in a shelter between 15 and 22 years old. We don't want to see that in our community. So our goal is always that we want to move these young people out of homelessness as soon as possible. They don't become chronically homeless adults. And then we can, in many housing complexes, we follow them with case management and help provide additional support.
Kathy Bray, thank you for joining us from Volunteers of America. You're Utah's president and CEO. So thank you for your time and helping us understand the situation much better. Thanks.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, and Kathy, all you've done for the community, too. I know you're You've been at this, like I said, a long time. What did you say, 30 years?
About 30 years.
Yeah, I think I've known you that long.
It's good to see you, Debbie.
It's always fun. Always fun to see you again and hear the great things that you and the Volunteers of America are doing to help the homeless across our community. We're broadcasting live from the Gerald E. King Women's Resource Center, just on the outskirts of downtown Salt Lake. Next, let's talk live to KSL News Radio's Boyd Matheson of Inside Sources on the shakeup within the Arizona Republican Party after that secretly recorded audio tape was leaked. You didn't hear it yet? Oh, you'll hear parts of it next.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. Our top story this hour, the man accused of killing a Provo police officer will be going to trial 5 years after it happened. Matt Frank Hoover accused of shooting and killing Officer Joseph Shinners when he was being arrested for probation violations. Hoover is charged with aggravated murder, possession of a dangerous weapon while on probation, drug possession, and failure to stop at the command of a police officer. St. George City working on a cell phone app to help people track their water use at home. Saratoga Springs has several years' experience with the same online water tracking system.
You can see kind of what your average usage is, and you can set up an alert that says, hey, if my usage spikes up above a certain amount, let me know.
Annalise Harrison with Saratoga Springs City says the system helps people conserve water and save money. Users can track usage as they go rather than being surprised by a big bill at the end of the month. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. There's a nationwide recall on a popular cough medicine now. ABC's Derek Dennis reports.
The Robitussin Honey CF Max Day Adult and Nighttime Adult cough medicines with expiration dates in 2025 or 2026 are under a voluntary recall due to microbial contamination. Robitussin maker Haleon says there have been no adverse events related to the cough syrups, but warns using the contaminated products could result in severe or life-threatening illness. Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Your money at this moment. The Dow Jones average is up, but just 30 points on the day right now. The NASDAQ is up 35 right now. And we should see our rain and snow showers taper off through the day. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
If you've ever experienced running out of hot water before your shower was done or hard water spots on dishes and fixtures, I've got a deal you might be interested in. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and you probably already know that a tankless water heater and a water softener solve both issues. If you've ever thought about looking into getting a tankless water heater, here's the deal I was talking about. Through the end of February, we're including a free water softener with every new tankless water heater we install. The best part of this deal might be that you never have to worry about being the last one to the shower again, or that you don't have to waste the money keeping 40 to 50 gallons of water hot 24/7. To take advantage of this deal, call Any Hour Services before the end of February. The visit's free and there's no obligation to buy. If you decide to have us install a new tankless water heater, we'll throw in the water softener for free. That's right, a free water softener when you purchase a tankless water heater. Pick up the phone and call Any Hour Services right now for all the details. 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and we all loved and grew up with the game. Now you're going to love the show. It's on the stage at Hale Center Theater right now, and it's called Clue. It is so funny, so clever, and I've got to tell you this. I love plays that include slow motion scenes, I'm not kidding you, and even rewind scenes. And if you're looking for the best death scene ever witnessed on the stage, it's waiting for you right now at Hale Center Theater in Clue. But there's so much more coming up in the 2024 season, and that includes Fiddler on the Roof. That's coming up next. Sound of Music Dujanovic, May We All, a country musical, The Time Machine, The Nutty Professor, Aladdin, The Magician's Elephant, and Beauty and the Beast. It's going to be a great season at Hale Center Theater. Go to hct.org to get your season tickets, individual tickets, and of course, gift cards.
At Shane Company, we believe we're all made to shine. This Valentine's Day, celebrate the love of your life, your best friend, or your best self with unique fine jewelry from Shane Company. We're passionate about sourcing the most beautiful and vibrant gemstones from around the world so everyone can shine bright. We take the time to ensure each piece of jewelry is expertly crafted so it can be treasured forever. Visit Shane Company and discover Valentine's Day gifts for everyone, your new crush or your soulmate. Let them know how much you care with fine jewelry designed by us, guaranteed for life, for free. Radiant red rubies, pink sapphires, diamond hearts, gorgeous jewelry with all the colors and symbols of love. This Valentine's Day, give a necklace with a gemstone as special as your love, a gold ring engraved with a date you'll never forget, earrings that make their eyes sparkle. Give a gift that was made to shine. Shane Company. Fine jewelry since 1929.
We have emergency traffic right now, brought to you by Sinclair's Dino Pay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Looks like the wet roads along the Wasatch Front are taking a toll on traffic. Right now, we have a crash, possible injuries involving multiple vehicles. Several vehicles involved with this one. It's in Weber County, northbound I-15 at Riverdale Road. It is blocking a right lane of travel. And right now, you have delays back to the very beginning of Clearfield. In Salt Lake County, we have a crash at the ramp from southbound I-215's west belt to go to westbound I-80. One of these vehicles, a tractor trailer, went completely off the roadway. Also, a crash reported at 500 West, 400 South in the downtown area. Mr. Max buy one, get one sale. Buy one suit for $299, get the second one for $100. Any style, any occasion. Free alterations and 9 locations. Mr. Mac, Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, rain and snow showers taper off later today, and we could get a foot of snow in Utah's southern mountains out of this storm. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a warming trend. Highs could reach 50 by the middle of next week. Right now, we're at 39 degrees with a rain shower. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Dave and Dujanovic have inside sources.
After you listen to this wild audio that got leaked to the Daily Mail, you'll understand why we want Boyd Matheson to weigh in on power, money, and the influence of politics. Or in politics.
Let's be honest. None of this is a surprise. Like, we've all kind of thought that there was a little cabal sitting in D.C., pulling the strings, the puppet masters. We knew it was a little bit dirty. This just proved everything we worried about to be true.
It's like a mob movie script in the making. So picture this. At least this is how I pictured it when I listened to all 10 minutes of it. We're going to play some of it for you here in just a second. But for those of you who haven't heard it yet, I gotta set it up for you. So like, let's go back to like the 1950s in a dark room somewhere, dark back room, like a lot of smoke, and a Senate candidate in Arizona named Kari Lake walks in. And what it sounds like the chair of the GOP doesn't know, at least from listening to the audio recording, is that he's being recorded. She's got a microphone on. And let the bribes begin. I mean, he sounds like he is trying to bribe her, saying things like, oh, we've got somebody back east that's willing to give you a job. What is it going to take to get you out of the race? Now, what section of the audio, Dave, are we going to listen to right now?
I want to listen to the very last interaction they had before the interview stops. And it's this chair of the Arizona GOP. And he's basically making the last-ditch effort pitch to Kari Lake to get her on board.
To get her out of the race. Okay, let's listen.
You know what it is? The people don't get to choose their elected officials unless they're pre-approved by the swamp. And the swamp doesn't pre-approve of me.
You need a strong party to help
I think you should go public with this and then say, hey,
no.
these people don't want to, they don't want,
And then I turn my key in my car and I just... I like my car.
Tell them I'm not flattered. I'm offended that they...
Don't tell anybody we had this conversation.
I'm offended that they don't care about our country more.
I actually wish you'd just give me a counter offer this big. Give me a counter.
I can't be bought.
Come on.
I can't.
All right, I'll see.
Okay, bye-bye.
It sounds like she's blowing him a kiss. She can't be bought. He wants a counter offer from her. This is just absolutely wild.
A counter offer, Boyd. Boyd Matheson joins us from Inside Sources. How many counter offers have you gotten in your day?
This is the only thing we didn't have was the guy named being Guido.
Well, I'm sure the FBI is going to go figure out who Guido from back east is. This is the one thing we don't know in listening to this 10 minutes. And by the way, the GOP chair resigned. He said it sounds like he's resigning because he was under threat from her camp that they were going to release more audio. But we don't know is like who's puppeteering this whole thing. He claims it's somebody from back east. I just personally think maybe it's the Arizona GOP wanting her out of the race, just get her out of the way. But this really does speak to like just the behind the scenes, the power and the money and the influence that goes on in politics that this shines a huge light on, Boyd. Like this is a movie in the making.
Yeah, well, and the light is always on, Deb, when it comes to this kind of stuff, when it comes to power and politics. And I often have not agreed with Carrie Lake in terms of style or substance or approach to campaigns. But I will say she said exactly the right thing in exactly the right way to say, I can't be bought. I wish these people cared about our country more than they care about having power and control of a state political apparatus. So I think we should be equal opportunity offenders and equal opportunity commenders. Again, don't often commend Carrie Lake, but she did it right and she said it right, and I think that's important. There's always been power and influence peddling at the highest level. And let's take it even one step further. Just go back to New Hampshire on Tuesday night. The former president stood up on a platform in front of a bank of television cameras that was broadcast all across the country and said, if you donate to my opponent, you will be on the blacklist. You will not have access to power. You will not have access to influence. We will box you out. We will shut you down. And I've seen that all over the country. And so that is not uncommon. But it's sad that we are getting so comfortable with an elite few controlling the strings in our politics and in our governing that we allow this kind of stuff to continue on.
To me, it was very clear that Carrie Lake is recording this. Where the one man has no idea, is just saying crazy things, and she is saying everything so perfect. Like it's had you written it out, and then she's also like eating some Doritos. I don't know if she's like chomping down on some stuff. Does it feel a little too clean, a little too staged?
No, because it's not the first that we've heard of this. So the fact that the audio came out now, one is a little mind-numbing because everybody should know that every mic is an open mic and every device is a recording device. Everything, everywhere you go. Yeah. And so there should
whether
be no
you can
shots.
see it or not.
Yeah, it's 24/7. And so anybody playing in that space should know that they should just expect it, that it at some point is going to be public if you're playing in that space.
Boy, it does feel just a little bit slimy on her part, but I wonder if she, this is just me guessing, I wonder if she hadn't she probably, it sounds like she maybe have heard of this before, or she knew what was coming, and so she wanted to prepare to capture it on audio recording, whatever the case may be. She's got the receipts now. We talked to Mayor of Riverton, Trent Staggs, earlier. Of course, he's running for U.S. Senate. He says he's good friends with Carrie Lake and her husband. He contacted her after this and says she plans on staying in the U.S. Senate race, and she should in Arizona, because I think, you can't back down to this kind of what could, quite frankly, be criminal activity.
Yeah, and there's no question she knew going in that this was not Carrie Lake was not caught by surprise. And she has been a very anti-establishment candidate from the beginning. in her run for governor. She went against the party and the party bosses, and so she's a disruptor in that space anyway. So no one should expect that she's going to parlay this, and she is parlaying this. I guarantee you her fundraising has gone up in the last 48 hours.
I was going to ask you that.
Because of this. Yeah, so that it's easy to parlay it, it's easy to play it, but the thing I want to make sure we don't lose sight of in all of this, these are the shiny objects, these are the big headlines that we often chase, and it's what gets us exhausted and exasperated with the political process and causes so many to disengage completely. And I'm telling you, that's what those in those very powers who would make those kind of offers to a candidate, that's exactly what they want. Because if those of you who are out there today who are working at your job, raising your family, helping your neighbor next door, making a difference in your community, if you're so exhausted and exasperated about all this, you're going to disengage from the process. And what that does is it ensures that the status quo of those that are wealthy, well-connected, that they're going to continue to be the elite and continue to have their hands on the levers of power. And so that's where we have to lean in and say, okay, I am engaging this year. I am going to do this different. I'm not just going to accept red or blue or Democrat or Republican or whatever. I'm going to challenge everything and everyone, top to bottom, from the president election all the way down to my local city council. And that's the kind of lean in that we have to have and not get discouraged and distracted by those who just have this pure pursuit of power that is not asking the right question, and that is, what is the best thing for the community? What's the best thing for the country?
Boyd Matheson, thank you. Inside Sources today starts at 1.
Straight ahead, at first I thought, we'll never have another professional sports team other than the Utah Jazz. Okay, ever. Like, I moved to
We're
Utah
lucky
30
to
years
have the Jazz.
Yeah, I just always get nervous when I'd hear rumors or something like maybe the Jazz are going to leave, over the years. Well, then Gail Miller says, I'm kind of going after, I'm going hard after a Major League Baseball team. It's going to be set up shop and build a stadium here on the west side of Salt Lake City. And then we learned last week that the Oakland A's might temporarily play in the new Daybreak Stadium. And then we learned there's yet another Major League sports team that may be coming to Utah. A totally different league, not Major League Baseball, not the NBA, but this? More on that next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Don't let this.
The fog has rolled in again, so long wait times
happen to you.
That right lane is blocked, and it is causing delays.
Fire's out, but they've got a few vehicles strung along the right side there as you make your way into the downtown area.
We do have a little bit of slowing still continuing on the south and west gates at Hill Air Force Base.
Dozens of traffic reporters and thousands of KSL listeners work together to get you to work and home on time. Listen every 10 minutes on the 9s, mornings and afternoons
on KSL News Radio.
Tim and I are going to give you an email address in just a second that you should use to try and win a full year of Soda weight loss, the full program for a year for free, plus a $2,000 wardrobe makeover. But I know some of you have probably heard us talk about how I've lost 34 pounds. Your daughter, Tim, lost, 42?
42.
42 pounds. I did it in less than 3 months, and that was 2 years ago. But everybody comes to this program for a different reason.
All the other programs out there push the drugs, and I wanted to do it not using drugs.
That's John, and his idea was, I want to do it in a healthy way so I can maintain it.
Yeah, and look, there's no drugs, there's no counting calories. This isn't a fat diet, it's not a diet at all. They teach you how to look at food differently and keep that weight off, which is the main message here. But if you keep that weight off, you're going to need new clothes. So more now about the Shape Up Showdown, where you could win a full year of Soda's amazing program and $2,000 worth of wardrobe change. Email ShapeUp to sodaweightloss.com.
Soda Weight Loss, SOTA, stands for State of the Art.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly, different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
Tired of living in your parents' basement or renting? You want to buy a home, but you were told that your debt-to-income ratio is too high. This is why you need a highly qualified mortgage lender. Rick at Loans by Rick has 22 years of experience and has helped hundreds of clients lower their debt-to-income so they can make the most important purchase of their lives and buy a home. As with any profession, there are different levels of mortgage lenders, so why not work with the best lender? One that can cut through the mortgage jungle and get you into a home. As interest rates come down, home values will go up, creating multiple offers which will raise home values higher. Don't wait to buy a home. Buy now. You can always refinance later and save hundreds of dollars. Let Loans by Rick guide you with your mortgage process. Call 801-809-SAVE or click loansbyrick.com. That's loansbyrick.com.
Rick Kirschenbaum, NMLS 241179, and Vintage Lending, NMLS 287106 are equal housing lenders. Some restrictions apply.
It's the Boat Show, February 1st through the 4th at Mountain America Expo.
Save $2 at UtahBoatShow.com.
The Boat Show, fun for the whole family.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a man accused of killing a Provo police officer is going to trial 5 years after it happened. Second, St. George is ready to try an app for tracking water use that's already been successful in other Utah communities. And third, a popular cough medicine is being recalled because it might be contaminated with bacteria. Right now, 39 degrees with a rain shower in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
I just don't have enough money to go to all of these major sporting events that we could soon have here in Utah. First of all, I love going to Jazz games, but can hardly afford it. Certainly can't afford to take everybody in the family and their boyfriends and girlfriends, too. So that's kind of out. Second, we're courting Major League Baseball, not only for a new stadium yet to be built near the downtown Salt Lake City area, but also bringing the Oakland A's to Daybreak, which is literally a 15-minute walk from my house. So I would be walking to the A's game. That's where I'll probably work a side hustle to afford to go to those games.
I fully endorse this.
You could come too once. And now NHL?
Okay, so Jazz owner Ryan Smith, who purchased the Jazz just a few years ago, has his eyes set on a larger sports market in Utah. And as the Millers had sold off the Jazz to Ryan Smith, they turned their eyes onto baseball. Well, he turned his eyes onto the National Hockey League. And he's been in communication and trying to say, hey, if you're going to expand the NHL, bring them to Utah. And I start counting it up. And I'm like, we got the Jazz, the Bees, the Cougars, the Utes.
The Raptors.
We have so many sports teams here.
Maybe the A's.
Yeah, maybe the A's and then NHL team. How many? Is this going to work?
Well, let's ask Marty Carpenter, who's live on the line. He's a partner at Northbound Strategy, also a big hockey guy, I guess. Hi, Marty.
Marty is the biggest hockey guy.
I didn't know you were a hockey guy.
I'm happy to be the de facto hockey fan for the state of Utah. I can represent all of us, you bet.
So do you think, in your experience as Utah's biggest hockey fan, do you think that there would be a draw for a National Hockey League?
Do.
Okay.
Absolutely do.
Convince me, Marty.
Let me tell you my experience on this. I grew up here in Utah in Davis County, but then I moved to Colorado for the time that I went to high school. When I moved to Denver, Then Denver had the Denver Broncos, and they had the Denver Nuggets. That was it. During the 4 years I was in high school, they added Major League Baseball with the Colorado Rockies, and then they added the Colorado Avalanche, an NHL team, in 1995. We are growing as a state in our population, and we're getting to the point where, yes, we can absolutely support more than an NBA team and an MLS team. We're starting to position ourselves to be a major league team. People are going to we already have an appetite for more sports, or they're going to show up and support. And I'm going to just sit back and love the fact that everyone's going to finally catch up and realize how awesome the NHL is.
Can I just admit, I totally forgot about Real. I'm so sorry. I love going through this. Like, we are just so inundated now with major league teams that I forgot all about Real. I just went to a game last season. They're a blast. I love watching them.
Well, so it's good to have a lot of options, right? With the growing population, you have more people who want tickets to things, and it might actually get a little bit easier to get Jazz tickets if you get some people who say, I want to spend some of my entertainment dollar going to the NHL games or to a Major League Baseball team to support them, right? And really the economics on this, when you look at this from the perspective of Ryan Smith and the Smith Entertainment Group, you want, when you own an arena, the name of the game is filling up dates on your calendar. So if you have the Jazz, who play 41 home games a year, unless they make the playoffs, and minus their preseason games, you add 41 more dates for the NHL, and you've got a couple of dates in there where you may have to transition the arena in some fashion or whatever. And then you've got, 80 days filled up. You've got to fill up the rest of the time with concerts and things like that. So, the name of the game is first and foremost filling up dates in an arena, and then secondly, developing areas around arenas, which has become pretty lucrative for most professional sports franchise ownership groups.
Marty, if I'm remembering correctly, which I'm sure I am, the Salt Lake Chamber used to work for the Salt Lake Chamber.
Correct.
Now, talk to me about the corporate sponsorship, the corporate dollars, because for Major League Sports, whatever it is absolutely crucial that you have this corporate sponsorship. Is Utah big enough and do they have enough corporate sponsors to be able to split it amongst all these teams?
I think that's very likely that we do. If not, we'll grow to the point where we will be able to do that. And it's important also to remember that not all those dollars have to come from homegrown Utah companies, right? You get an NHL team here and they need a sponsor that's going to put a logo on the ice, or that's going to put a logo on the team's helmets or whatever. Those can be Utah companies. Sure, you could get the Zions Bank, you could get the Mountain America Credit Union, the ones that you see relatively regularly sponsoring things. But you'll also get some of the outside bigger companies as well, because these teams aren't, while they are local businesses, they are part of a larger league that is not just nationwide business, it's a global business. And so you'll get ads on that. I mean, think about it this way, Dave. The LA Dodgers just spent hundreds of millions of dollars on 2 Japanese players. And I will guarantee that you'll see at the ballpark this year at Dodger Stadium ads in Japanese and ads in English for Japanese companies, because that is a worldwide brand. Same's going to happen here when you have a major league team. Same's going to happen here when you have an NHL team. Both of those things come to fruition.
We're speaking live to Marty Carpenter, who's the partner at Northbound Strategy. Also a big hockey guy, talking about Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz, courting now an NHL team. And Marty, just real quickly, where would the stadium be built? We're running out of room to build stadiums around here.
Well, we'll find space to build a stadium. I'm sure that'll not be a problem. It is a tricky part of the equation because the Delta Center is awesome for basketball, and it was designed first and foremost and only for basketball. It is not a quality NHL. It's not an arena of NHL quality. You just can't put an NHL team in there for more than a couple of years while you're building something else. So I don't know. That'll be a really intriguing thing to try to figure out. What do they do as far as you build an arena for the NHL team? And if so, it would only make sense to me, like I was mentioning a few minutes ago, about filling dates in an arena that the Jazz essentially move in to the same arena. All those are bigger questions that are down the road. I'm sure that the Smith Entertainment Group and the NHL in particular, and I would imagine in part of that the NBA are all involved in discussions like that. But I do love the way that the Smith Entertainment Group has gone about this, just following from a distance, right, and following it as a hockey fan. It's been reported by really credible sources I believe Ryan Smith has even said publicly that he's met with the NHL commissioner, Gary Bettman. They've been courting this. They've been trying to go about it the right way. I think the NHL loves the idea of having some teams located in the same general geographic area. There's a team in Denver. There's a team in Vegas. Right now, there's a team in Phoenix that may be on the move and could actually end up here. But I also love the idea that I think they're pursuing primarily, which is to get an expansion team here.
Yeah.
I bet the NHL really loves the idea of having 4 teams, essentially at least in the Rocky Mountain region, that can play together.
Thanks, Marty.
You say the Coyotes might end up here?
I think it's a possibility. They can't seem to get an arena figured out down there. I went to a game down there in November. They're playing on the campus of Arizona State University in a 4,600-seat arena, and it is awesome to go see a game there.
Yeah, us Sun Devils, we just make way for anything. The Pope once visited Arizona State University, so we welcome everybody. As a former Sun Devil, as an ASU graduate, thanks so much. That's great information. I didn't know about the Coyotes could be on the move. Marty Carpenter, perhaps the biggest NHL fan in Utah,
loves it.
Trying to sell it to me. I just don't think there's enough support in Utah to support an NHL team, at least filling up the stadium with fans.
This is why most people don't like hockey. Hockey is terrible on TV. It's one of the few sports that just does not translate in any way. It's bad on TV. When you go and you're in the arena, it is a completely different sport. So when you experience it, you will fall in love with it.
Let's take live phone calls, 801-575-TALK. Are you on my team on this? Are you on my side on this? We're already oversaturated. We're probably getting MLB too. I mean, oversaturated, cannot afford to take my family to one more major league sporting event. I just don't have an appetite for hockey, but maybe you do. 801-575-TALK. Convince me otherwise and why I should. Next.
It's 11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomis. KSL's top local story this hour. Family in Sandy is hoping an aggressive pit bull won't be coming back to their neighborhood after the dog attacked 8-year-old Jeffrey Anderson twice. He shared his experience with KSL TV.
The dog kind of ran out, grabbed my leg, started shaking it. Everybody was trying to get the dog off. And I was just sitting there, just screaming in pain, trying to even get the dog off myself a little bit. But it just wouldn't go.
The dog's owner was previously cited for another attack. A judge will decide what to do with the dog. Gen Z beginning to influence our elections, but many young voters feel like their most important issues are overlooked. A senior partner with Elevate Strategies, Gabby Sinlison, says candidates need to take those issues seriously.
I think Gen Z voters are in a different mindset than a lot of those older voters, and I think it's going to take politicians really speaking to those issues and seeing young people run for office to help connect with those types of voters. Sinlison is excited to see some Utah candidates leveling with Gen Z in the way they speak to the young people. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Alaska Airlines says it plans to return some of its 737 MAX 9 planes back to service on Friday after the FAA released final instructions on inspections to make sure the door plugs on those planes are secure. ABC News aviation analyst Steve Ganyard says the inspection process involves bolts that hold those door plugs in place.
It's important to understand what the problem was here. It wasn't a software change. It wasn't a problem with the structural design. It was 4 bolts that were missing. And so all the FAA was asking the airlines to do was to go back in and make sure that those bolts were installed and that they were appropriately tightened. If they are, and they all will be before they fly again, that airplane is perfectly safe to fly.
Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average up on the day right now, 38 points. The NASDAQ up just a bit, only about 4 points right now. And our KSL weather, the rain, we hope, is going to taper off this afternoon. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:33.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-838-6161. That's 800-838-6161. 800-838-6161.
This ad furnished by Nesmith Taiju LLC. Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Great. Maxed out cards, rent is due, bills are piling up. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
We should do what my brother did. He went to 27cash.com and got $3,000.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is different. They're one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000.
I'm sure there's a lot of paperwork.
Nope. My brother said it was fast and easy. He did it right from his phone.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan of up to $5,000 in minutes, and your cash can hit your bank account as soon as the next day. Our lenders have millions of dollars to lend regardless of your credit history.
Great news! I went to 27cash.com and we'll have our money as soon as tomorrow.
Wow, that is fast.
If you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-day kitchen and bath.
James talks about his experience with 3-day kitchen and bath.
My wife and I had been talking for several years about getting our kitchen and bathroom remodeled. We'd had some bids actually been made. The thing that always put us off was that they were talking about 2 or 3 months to get all this work done. We heard about 3-day bath and kitchen. We thought that we'd give it a try. They spent 3 days on one of our items and 4 days on another, and the cost was about the same thing as all of the people gave us 3-month estimates for. They went out of their way to make sure that we were satisfied with everything when the job was finished. There's simply no question about the idea that they want satisfied customers and they want people who are pleased with their work.
It's about time.
3 days or less
at 3-day kitchen and bath.
We have emergency traffic brought to you now by Sinclair's DinoPay app. Save up to 20 cents per gallon. Here's Ricky Meese.
Big problems out on the roads. With these wet driving conditions, speeds need to be reduced and higher elevations prepare for snowfall. Right now, we have a multiple vehicle crash in the clearing stages northbound on I-15 at Riverdale Road in Weber County. We still have a right lane blocked, and you have solid stop-and-go delays back to 650 North in Clearfield. Another huge issue is on I-215. This is going northbound on the West Belt. It's about a mile after 700 North, so approximately 1,200, 1,500 North. You've got a jackknife vehicle, a jackknife semi blocking all but the right lane on one side, and a crashed vehicle, looks like a major tow truck on the other side. You're going to see backups in both directions. Advanced Window Products, high-efficiency windows, $2,500 off, 10 windows or more for a limited time. AdvancedWindows.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, rain and snow showers taper off later today. Utah's southern mountains could pick up 12 inches of snow out of the storm. Partly cloudy tomorrow with a warming trend, and highs could reach 50 by the middle of next week. Right now we're at 38 degrees with light rain. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
The talk about another Major League sports team coming to Utah, this one an NHL National Hockey League, being courted by Jazz owner Ryan Smith to bring a team to Utah. It makes me feel like we're oversaturated with sports all of a sudden. This happened pretty much overnight, because for so many years, for decades, it's just been the Utah Jazz, and then I'd go over and see a Salt Lake Bees game, AAA baseball game. But now we're talking Major League Baseball on the west side of Salt Lake City. The Oakland A's temporarily moving to Daybreak to the new stadium being built while their stadium is being built in Las Vegas. Real Salt Lake. I love going to those soccer games and get to those with my family from time to time. And then now NHL, big question mark on where that stadium would go. Feels like a lot, and it could get really pricey for families.
Well, and let's not forget that the biggest sport in this state is college football. The University of Utah and BYU, they bring in a million fans, right? It's 40, 50, 60,000 per game. So it's enormous. It's just spreading that dollar so far. And can we handle another Major League, team? Hockey, baseball, whatever it might be. Travis in Saratoga Springs, we're taking your phone calls, by the way, 801-575-TALK. Call in. What do you think, Travis?
Team Dave, I find myself happening all the time being on your team. We certainly can have hockey here, and you hit it spot on that hockey is so much different in person. I think you'd be surprised how many people go to Vegas to watch the Knights play, because it is our closest area to see a real live hockey game. And I'd like to piggyback on that. Yeah, we have potentially 4 major league sports in the next 5 years. The other thing is, us sports junkies, we like to get behind our team, and we want to bet. That's another thing that the state's going to have to think about, is allowing that online sports betting finally coming to the great state of Utah.
Travis. Thank you so much, Travis from Saratoga Springs. Let's jump over to line 3. It looks like we have Jerry. Hi, Jerry from Santee.
Hi, good morning. Enjoy
good
your
morning.
program.
Thanks.
Comment I wanted to make is I understood that we have a hockey team, the Grizzlies, that play at Maverick. So what are we talking about getting another team?
We do have the Grizzlies, and I've been out there quite a few times in support of them and love watching them play. But it's just not one of my, it's not my first go-to. When I'm bored on a Saturday night, I kind of forget that they're out there. And so are you just worried that an NHL team would kind of squeeze the Grizzlies out?
Well, I just don't see where we need any more. We got a good team, and we got a good place, and I don't think they're filling up the arena with customers. So,
well, the times I've been out
there,
they certainly haven't. But that's great insight. What's your take on that, Dave?
Well, it's the difference between watching a movie starring Tom Cruise and Dave Noriega. Nobody cares about Dave Noriega. You'll show up for Tom Cruise. That's what happens with Major League anything. Major League Baseball, hockey, NBA.
You would make Caitlin, our producer, and myself go, right, to your movie. It would be like you'd sell 2 tickets.
You're like, oh, this is so hard to watch.
2 tickets, and we might leave early. That's a great point. Okay, carry on.
Not all hockey is created equal. NHL hockey is so much better than Grizzlies hockey. And guess what? There is not a single Grizzlies player that would disagree with what I'm saying. There is a crazy amount of difference even between the Salt Lake Bees, which is AAA, which is the highest level of baseball there is outside of Major League Baseball. But there is still a huge difference between Major League Baseball and AAA.
What's a ticket cost to a national hockey league game? Like, say I wanted to go see the New Jersey Devils and the Colorado Avalanche play because I'm going to go to New York. Let's just throw that out there.
That's a great question. I don't follow because I've never had to think about NHL, but typically you can get a ticket for $20, $20-$30 if you're Now if you're buying it on Ticketmaster or StubHub or something like that, that's a third market. That's where they buy it from the team and then they resell it, so everyone's getting their cut. If you're buying it from your hometown, if you're buying Jazz tickets directly from the Jazz, it's far more affordable than what we're used to, which is like, oh, I'll just go on those third-party sites.
Is it true that most people who go to hockey games go there for the fights?
No, not at all.
Like I went to a fight and a hockey game broke out.
That used to be the case. It used to be a bloodbath.
Are they more regulated now?
Yeah, they don't allow it quite as much. You don't see fights nearly as much as you used to. Another little element that I want to bring up is the financial impact of bringing NHL to Utah. It is staggering. Let me just give you an idea. There's 20 people, 20 players on the ice, if you were to bring a team here. The salary cap is about $85 million. So imagine, you've got $85 million worth of players every year that are living in Utah. Over a decade, that's nearly $1 billion. It is a huge influx of cash into the area. Imagine if a company came in, this is what the equivalent would be. If I were to bring in an Adobe or a Walmart or something, and I employed 1,100 people, paying them $75,000 a year, that's the same financial impact as bringing hockey to Utah. That is an enormous boon. So
I hadn't thought of it that way. I like how you're thinking about that.
It would be staggering. Add to that Major League Baseball, which is probably another $100 million a year. It's just had this insane influx of cash into the community, which goes to our roads, goes to our kids, the education, all of this.
Oh, look at that.
It is incredible.
I'm sold.
Bring them in.
I'm sold. Next, we'll have more live here from the Women's Resource Center, where Dave and I have been broadcasting live all morning long. Looking for donations here at the center. They said earlier in the show they need things like socks for women. They need women's underwear. There's a big need for that, believe it or not. They need women's underwear, and they need gently used clothing. And there's actually a drop-off spot to the east side of the building. Dave and I saw that as we were walking in. Straight ahead, we're going to get a debrief on what the homeless youth situation looks like in the Salt Lake County area.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to KSLNewsRadio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio. With interest rates coming back down, I bet the real estate market will pick back up in 2024. We're already seeing that, Tim.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really matter how the market is doing when you have the right team. So if you're looking to sell your house, now you want to downsize or you need more space, you need the Stern team.
The Stern team has taught us, I can think of a handful of things that I would worry about if I was buying or selling, but there are 100 details that are involved in selling a home, and they have lots of people that are handling every detail so nothing falls through the cracks.
And they have so many different options. I mean, I worked with Cammie there at the Stern team, and she was awesome. But if you need an instant cash offer, you can do that. If you need to buy before you sell, you can do that. They have flexible fees.
They also have people that they represent that are looking to buy a home, so maybe they can make that perfect connection within the Stern team.
So don't put off selling your house or buying a house because you think the market isn't just right. The market is right with the Stern team.
Go online to sternteam.com or just Google the Stern team.
Have you heard about the huge clearance sale at Dave's Bernina in St. George and Provo? It's time to buy a better machine and get a Bernina. Up to 48 months, no interest on certain models.
Huge January savings on Bernina's special edition 770QE and 570QE CAFE machines that include a free embroidery module and free gifts.
Purchase the L890 Serger and receive a free Bernina Studio cabinet, a $3,250 value. How about $2,400 worth of free gifts when you buy a Bernina B790 Pro model?
Unlimited supply. These machines won't last.
Dave's Bernina has incredible deals on school machine buybacks during the sale.
Starting at $499, plus super deals on floor models and trade-ins.
From everyday sewing tasks to artistic designs, count on Dave's Bernina. In business since 1960, 691 East St. George Boulevard and 2017 North 550 West in Provo.
Get the appliances you need right away at Lowe's. Explore the largest assortment of brands you trust, like Whirlpool, Samsung, and LG, in-store or online at the best values. Plus, take advantage of our everyday financing offers on top items, from refrigerators to laundry pairs. And there's more. Get your new appliances delivered or installed quickly at your convenience. Because Lowe's knows appliances, Lowe's knows home improvement. Subject to credit approval.
It's a mystery where Old Spice finds its amazing scents like Himalayan sea salt, but I'm thrilled they have because no other body wash exfoliates and moisturizes 24/7 like Old Spice Gentleman's Himalayan sea salt body wash. Now, if only there was a mountain range separating the Indian subcontinent from the Tibetan plateau where I could hide my Old Spice and keep my family from stealing it, my impossibly smooth skin will finally be safe.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. American Express began as a freight forwarding company in 1850, earning a reputation as a company people could trust. One thing has remained constant through the company's history: its commitment to providing the world's best customer experience every day. Amex's Senior Vice President of Commercial Underwriting, Brady Fife, shares more.
American Express opened its first Utah office in 1910, offering express delivery services. We have had a consistent Utah presence for over 100 years and are proud to be the official payments partner of the Utah Jazz and Delta Center, which includes a dedicated entrance for all American Express card members. Today, Amex's Utah office is located in Sandy. There are about a dozen business units within our local market, ranging from finance and risk to technology, supporting our consumer, commercial, merchant and network, and international business segments. Utah is also the headquarters of American Express National Bank. Since our earliest days, we've striven to find new ways to have our customers and colleagues' backs. This year, we ranked #1 in credit card satisfaction for consumer and small businesses by J.D. Power, and we're the #3 best company to work for in the U.S. by Fortune magazine.
While American Express's business has transformed over the past 173 years, from freight forwarding to innovative digital products, its 77,000 global colleagues remain committed to earning customers' loyalty for the long haul. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, a man accused of killing a Provo police officer is going to trial 5 years after it happened. Second, St. George is ready to try an app for tracking water use that's already been successful in other Utah communities. And third, a popular cough medicine is being recalled because it might be contaminated with bacteria. Right now, 39 degrees with a rain shower in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We've been broadcasting live this morning and feel honored to be here at the Geraldine E. King Women's Resource Center on 7th South in Salt Lake City. And as Dave and I arrived first thing this morning for the show, just before 9 o'clock, we were so graciously greeted by Dan Benshoff, who is the Chief Development Officer at Volunteers of America, and he walked us through the sort of the pantry area and then into the area where it appeared there were like maybe dozens of women. It might have been even a couple of hundred. It's a large cafeteria area, and we spoke to just briefly some of the women there, and it just really reminded me as we turned the corner from the pantry into that kitchen area just how many women in our community, we just don't realize how many are experiencing homelessness and they need a place like this, and so grateful that this place is here for them so they can be here overnight.
Dan, give me an idea. What's the volunteer situation look like?
We have a huge support from the community. So in an annual year, we have over 3,000 volunteers that not only at this location, but all of our locations help serve meals, sort donations, do drives. So we have a lot. The problem is that we tend to drop off a bit of a cliff in that volunteerism in January. November and December are very heavy volunteer months. It's the season of giving and all
Top
of that.
Of mind.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you can't find a spot to volunteer. But when we get into January and through the summer, it falls off a lot. So we're constantly trying to get people to come in and serve those meals and provide volunteer hours with us.
It's the exact opposite of the gym. where everyone wants to help early on, by the end, nothing. So that's great. How do you volunteer? What's the best way to do it?
So our website, voaut.org, is a really good way to get in there and see where our programs are. Primarily, our biggest need is with serving meals. So we serve over 450,000 meals in all of our programs every year, which is a staggering number.
Yeah.
And so at our website, you can look to see where our locations are. We have the Youth Resource Center. We have a men's detox location, and then the Women's Resource Center. And so 3 times a day, 365 days a year, we have groups and individuals coming in to help make, in some cases, and prepare and serve meals at all those locations. So that, and then we have donations. We receive and then disperse a lot of stuff, a lot of items, and it's seasonal. So in the winter, obviously, it's things like coats and jackets and things like that. In the summer, it changes. But we have a big need to have the community help us with that effort. Right now, we really need underwear, which is odd, but we go through a lot of underwear at all of our locations. And those items have to be new. They can't be used. So they're packaged underwear that we would love to receive and then disperse back out to our clients at all these locations.
You said there were 250 women who stayed here last night.
Mm-hmm.
And that you make room when we hit a cold snap for 10 more, or even maybe more than that if you need to.
Right. So with Code Blue, which a lot of people have probably been hearing about, there is a mandate to some degree from the city and the government to say, hey, we need to open up more shelters when the temperature reaches a certain temperature. Open up more shelters, but also offer more space within existing shelters to bring in more folks off the street. And so our numbers can swell up to 260, 275 here at the Women's Resource Center.
Women who are experiencing homelessness.
Yes.
Let's talk to Danny Knives. She's the Division Director of Youth Homeless Services at the Youth Resource Center, and just having been a reporter in this Salt Lake area since 1990.
Yeah.
I have had the opportunity to meet and actually spend significant amount of time and days and nights with our homeless youth. And it's just always incredible to me, Danny, the resilience. And what I just didn't realize until I started talking to them is that they are literally at times scrounging for something to eat. I followed one man. He was now an adult, but he was homeless as a child with his father, and they were living in their car, and he learned how to dumpster dive behind all the convenience stores and what time to do that because he knew people were throwing out their food. And you see this every day at the Youth Resource Center. And thankfully, they have a great place to go because now a safe place to go because of Volunteers of America.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for bringing this up. And Volunteers of America Utah has been serving homeless youth in our community since the 90s. Earlier this decade, we saw a huge increase in need for an overnight shelter. So in 2016, we actually opened what is our current building at 880 South, 400 West. And we serve 30 youth at night for an emergency shelter. Actually, this winter, we were able to increase it to 50 as our winter overflow. And we also operate as a drop-in day center services that has wraparound support from housing case management, employment case management, hot showers, 3 hot meals a day. We run a youth legal clinic. And if there's a need, we hear it from the youth, we pivot and we offer it. So anything that they're needing, we'll support them in that to move out of homelessness and into housing. We do serve anyone ages 13 to 22. They do age out on their 23rd birthday, but providing wraparound services for those young adults so they never have to make it in to the adult homeless system, and we're able to divert them, and hopefully they reach self-sufficiency and never have to touch our homeless services system again.
What are some of the causes that we're seeing with kids? What's leading them to homelessness?
Yeah, great question. So a good portion is aging out of our foster care system. So we're seeing around 30% are formally touched the DCFS system and are now here with us at the Youth Resource Center. We see some institutionalized homelessness, generational homelessness of families growing up either on the streets, in the family shelter, whatever that looks like, and then youth now coming to us trying to pave a way on their own. We also see a large range of LGBTQ plus youth accessing our center that felt that they didn't feel safe at home and have decided to come to us to seek a different life that way.
I met a number of them over the years as I spent time at the old Youth Resource Center on State Street. I'm so glad you got a new facility. It feels new. It's larger. It's brighter. Danny and Dan, thanks both of you for joining us, and thanks so much to the Women's Resource Center here today, hosting us and allowing us to be here. It has just been an eye-opening experience, and I know our listeners who they are so giving will be dropping off items and volunteering. Give us that website one more time, Dan.
It's voaut.org.
Great. I'm sure there are, sadly, plenty of spots available to sign up to volunteer.
Yep. And we love the community coming in and helping us out.
But we need to get people motivated to get them here to start serving meals. Dan, Danny, thank you both so much. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it was a great experience, Debbie, to be able to walk through, and it can be eye-opening, right? I mean, I think sometimes we sanitize in our brains what's going on, and there's a real need, real.
Yeah. Maria Chaleos up next with, we understand on Capitol Hill there's been some developments on the transgender bathroom legislation that we've been talking about here at KSL News Radio, and thankfully Maria will bring us up to date on that.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon. This is Utah's Noon News. I'm Maria Chaleos. KSL's top story this hour. Lake Powell was in better shape than this time last year, but they say they need to start seeing a lot more snow. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has more.
Today is one of the first major storms of the winter for some parts of southern Utah, and the areas getting the brunt of it aren't major contributors to Lake Powell.
The dry winter has not been kind to us.
Utah's Colorado River Commissioner Gene Shawcroft says last year's record snowpack provided a literal lifeline to the reservoirs that sat at an all-time record low. But this year, current estimates only project Lake Powell to get about 3/4 of the water it normally gets on a given year.
We don't have